How is everybody today? Good? Did everybody have a good week? So today we're going to talk about one of my favorite animals called a white-tailed deer. Has anybody ever seen a white-tailed deer before? If you have, where have you seen it? Maybe you've seen it while you're driving in the car. They might be along the side of the road. Maybe you've gone for a walk in the woods and you've seen them in the woods. All those cool things. It's always fun when you can spot a deer around the area, and especially when you're walking in the woods and you kind of find one. We have several that live here at Osborne Metro Park, and almost every time that I go out for a walk, especially in the summertime, I find a deer. There's one who is not very scared of people, which isn't the best thing. She doesn't come up to you or anything like that, but she'll let you get pretty close and get a good look before she runs off. So white-tailed deer, they are pretty much all over Ohio, and we have a pretty good population here in Erie County. And can you tell me what three things an animal might need to survive out in the wild? They need food, water, and some kind of shelter. And space. We'll say four things. Food. Does anybody know what a deer might like to eat? They're an herbivore, which means that they only eat like plants and vegetables, and some nuts. They really like to eat acorns. They'll eat grass. They'll eat flowers. They'll eat things right out of your garden, especially, but they like the leafy green side of it. That sort of stuff. So this is what a skull of a deer looks like. So their head bone. So these are their teeth. These are their eyes. This is where their nose would be. Pretty neat, isn't it? And then this is their bottom jaw. So you can see how their teeth are kind of all the same, and they're kind of sharp and pointy. And so that makes a really good surface for them to grind up all that plant material, because sometimes that's hard to break down. So their teeth are really well designed in order to break down their food. In order for them to find water, they're going to be looking for some kind of running stream, maybe even a pond. Some will drink water out of a puddle. They do get a lot of their water, like we talked about this a long time ago, like rabbits. They get a lot of their water when they eat the plants early in the morning. So they're covered in that wet stuff called dew, and they'll get a lot of water that way too. As far as shelter goes, deer like to live in the woods. They'll usually bed down in a wooded area, but then they'll usually feed more out in like a field. They're kind of like turkeys, where they're more edge dwellers, so they kind of go back and forth between an open field and back into the woods. There's different names for the boys and the girls of deer. So a female deer is called a doe. A male deer is called a buck. A baby deer is called a what? Does anybody know? A fawn. So a baby deer is called a fawn, and they usually have spots when they're first born, and then as they get older, those spots tend to go away. We get lots of phone calls here at the park about somebody finding a baby deer that might have curled up somewhere, and they haven't seen mom, and they want to know what to do, and they think mom's left. Mom has left. She will tell her baby to lay down in the middle of a field in tall grasses and not move. And they'll stay there for pretty much all day, 8 to 10 hours, until mom comes back to feed them when they're ready. And this helps protect the baby, because the baby can then hide and not very many things can find it. And it also thinks that it's camouflage. So those spots all over them, they'll freeze right there. You can walk right up to them and they won't move because they think that you can't see them. White-tailed deer get their name because they have a white tail. So this is what their tail looks like. And what happens is when they get scared and they start to run away, they throw their tail up like this, and it's kind of like a white flag waving. So this is something good for babies to be able to follow if they're separated from mom, and something easy for them to see. Deer are pretty big animals, and this is what a deer fur looks like. I know you can't see the whole thing, but look at this. It's huge. And it's very thick. So there's lots and lots of fur all over it. Deer are really fast runners. They can run super, super fast. And they have 4 legs, and this is what their feet look like. So this is a picture of a deer print in the snow. And so this is what you would see in the snow or the mud. So that's what their hoof looks like. Deer have amazing hearing and really, really good at smelling. Their eyesight isn't so great, but they make up for it with their hearing and their smelling. And they need those senses because that helps them to identify if there's a predator or somebody around. That's why some hunters say that deer hunting is so hard, and why when hunters go out, they try to make sure they don't smell like anything to give themselves away. So the boy deers, or the bucks, they have these things. Does anybody know what this is called? This is called an antler. And antlers are different than horns. So a horn would be on like a cow or a goat, and they grow their whole life and they never come off. Antlers, they grow new antlers every single year. So in one year, this whole antler grew. And then usually around January time, they fall off. And that's a great time for you to go out and actually look for these. Lots of animals love deer antlers because it's something great for them to chew on. So remember when we talked about squirrels and how squirrels have teeth that constantly grow, and rabbits and groundhogs, those kind of animals? So what they do is they chew on these antlers, and that helps to file down their teeth. So lots of animals seek these out once they lose them. Then later on in the year, the deer will grow new antlers, and when they first grow, they're covered in fuzzy stuff. And that basically is bringing all that good blood into their antlers to make them grow bigger. And then eventually you'll see them walk around and they'll rub off that fur, that fuzzy stuff from the antlers onto trees. Those are also called buck rubs. You will also find those, especially during the rut season when they're looking for a girlfriend, and that's how the males spread their scent in their area of where they live, basically. Okay, that's all I have about deer, so let me know if you have any questions or something that I didn't answer for you. I am going to show you some pictures that Mr. Mike actually got. So we put a trail cam out at, I think it was at the Enchanted Cottage, and he found some pretty cool deer out there. So I am going to add in some pictures from the trail cam, and I hope you guys enjoy it.